Yes, good morning, everybody. And we're slowly but surely starting to piece together what exactly happened out here at what was the Francis Scott Key Bridge here in Baltimore when, as you can see from this video from earlier this morning, the bridge completely collapsed. It was hit by that cargo ship early this morning, just around 1:30 a.m. It's a scene pretty much reminiscent of an action movie. Coming up on this Saturday edition of News 8 Today, we'll have the latest from Baltimore on the cleanup efforts following the collapse of the Key Bridge. Plus, Transgender Day of Visibility is being celebrated this weekend. Hear how the LGBTQ community and allies are coming together. And as we wrap up Women's History Month, we'll hear from women talking about the essential role their vote plays in deciding elections. Good Saturday morning. I'm Jay Scott Smith. Those stories are ahead. But first, let's get a check of the Storm Team forecast with meteorologist Mary Ellen Pan.
All right, thanks a lot, Jake.
The Bird in Hand Corporation, which owns both the Bird in Hand restaurant as well as the Bird in Hand stage, announced on Monday that they will be temporarily moving to this spot, the Revere Tavern here in Paradise in Lancaster County.
As for the prices that you and I are paying at the grocery store, Jay, right now the impact on that is expected to be fairly minimal.
Now, Jackie, it's not just agriculture that's being affected by this. The collapse could also have an impact on the auto industry. So what are you hearing about this?
Yeah, that's right. The Port of Baltimore is the #1 automobile port in the country, so certainly there has been a...
Yeah, good morning, Caitlin and Matt. Good morning, everybody. And actually, as you can see here, off to this side, the crews are actually working on extricating this truck from this front yard. And welcome back to this Sunday edition of News 8 Today. Now, there are growing concerns in the state of Florida about an outbreak of measles, a disease that vaccines had largely eradicated at the turn of this century. Good morning, Matt. Good morning, Caitlin. Good morning, everybody. And very clearly, it is very snowy out here in Dauphin County. We're actually near Swatera Township, and if you can see it, that's 283. So you've likely seen this custom jacket, a custom-made Travis Kelce jacket that went viral after Taylor Swift wore it during the AFC Championship game. It is going to be the blue ribbon ceremony that's going to be held here at the state capitol, and we're joined by the president and CEO of the Pennsylvania Family Support Alliance, Angela Little. So, Angela, we spoke in the last half hour about the ceremony. Tell us a little bit about the people that are being honored today.
Well, they're great people. They've been nominated from an independent panel of judges.
The county commissioners unanimously approved the latest round of American Rescue funding, and that includes $1 million going to this building here on South Prince Street in Lancaster. And normally scammers, they tend to be anonymous, lurking in the shadows behind phone calls or emails or text messages. However, we have a story of two bold scammers who actually pulled up in person. The Phillies and pitcher Zach Wheeler have agreed on a 3-year, $126 million contract extension. The 33-year-old right-hander was entering the final year of a 5-year, $118 million contract.
It's been an amazing experience here getting to actually work out. As you can see, I actually had to put the gloves on. From the Kick House in Hummelstown, I'm Jay Scott Smith, kicking it this morning here in Hummelstown. Back to you in the studio.
It was a cold and rainy start to 2024 outside the American Legion Post in Mount Joy, but that feeling is nothing new for Tyler Stump and the riders who have been coming together every January 1st since 2009 for the annual Frosty Balls and Frozen Susie's motorcycle ride.
We started 15 years ago. Me and a buddy decided to go on a New Year's Day ride, and a couple other people heard about it, so we decided to raise some money for the veterans.
What started as a ride of about a dozen guys has morphed into a big event every New Year's Day.
I believe we had 11 people that first year and raised $400. And now in our 15th year, last year we had over 500 registered motorcycles. And in the 14 years, we've been able to give over $270,000 to the Lebanon VA hospital.
One of the traditions every year is one biker wearing the crown of Baby New Year. It's an honor of sorts for men like Marine vet Barry Kaplan.
Yes, sir. 2013. I think it was like 32 degrees when I rode in here in a diaper.
As we make sure that you are #1.
Manny Acuna, a Marine vet who survived an IED attack during the Iraq War, started the organization Blankets of Honor to show love and support for his fellow vets.
Come on up, Don.
There was an old bumper sticker, POWMIA, and it said, "You are not forgotten." Well, we want to emphasize you are truly not forgotten.
Manny says events like this live up to that credo of "you are not forgotten," and offered this message to struggling vets.
I know sometimes times are hard, money's tight, but there are organizations out there that will help you. In
Mount Joy, I'm Jay Scott Smith for WGAL News 8.
We were able to do rehearsal in here.
Shireen Pimentel walks into the room with the energy of a teenager. But when you hear her voice, it's the sound of a trained performer who spent the vast majority of her 25 years on Earth on the stage.
Actually, when I was 3 years old was when it started. My parents put me in dance class at that time. And from 3 to 9, I did dance class incessantly. By the time I had auditioned for The Lion King, I was dancing 5 times a week at 2 different dance schools. It was not the same tune I remembered.
Shireen, who is currently starring in It Happened in Key West at the Fulton Theater, has been performing since she was 3 years old. Her first big break came as a 9-year-old when she scored the role of young Nala in the Broadway version of Disney's The Lion King.
I saw the show. That's kind of what did it for me. I saw 2 kids on stage, and I had spent my life growing up watching the ballet, and so you see so many adults performing, and I thought, oh, it would be so interesting when I grow up to become a ballerina. And then I watched a musical, and I was like, wait, you could do this as a kid.
That role's given way to a number of major roles on Broadway, including playing Maria in West Side Story and becoming the first black woman to play the lead role in Evita.
I really trusted myself at like 6 years old, 7 years old. I was like, this is what I want to be. And there are so many people out there who say, well, that's really hard to do. And it is. That I am not negating. This is a hard career to take. But I knew at that time that that was what I wanted to do. Doing a little bit of stretching before the show. And some.
The daughter of a Jamaican mother and a Puerto Rican father, Shireen says that understanding who she is as an Afro-Latina helps shape her approach to various roles.
We're not able to leave the house and like leave that part of our identity behind. We're not, you know, I don't leave the house and I'm like no longer a black woman. And so I know that the steps I take and the steps I take in my career, in my own life, in the rehearsal room, everything is kind of a reflection on myself, but also shows other kids.
Shireen credits her parents for putting her in community theaters and free programs while she grew up in North Jersey. That helped her grow at a time where the strain on school budgets has led to cuts in arts programs, which disproportionately impacts black and Hispanic students.
Then came a man.
For her part, Shireen hopes to serve as an inspiration to the next generation of young performers of color.
What I really want to inspire other black and brown children is that, like, you can do anything you set your mind to. And you can see that from the fact that, like, we're on this stage doing this. And you don't have to want to be on the stage. You could want to be a doctor and know that, like, you can do that. Know that you can pursue anything under the sun. I am loved.
At the Fulton Theater in Lancaster, I'm J. Scott Smith for WGAL News 8.
Nearly 36 hours after the catastrophic collapse, the recovery effort is now underway in the search for the 6 men who were on that bridge early Tuesday morning.
The horrifying sight of the Francis Scott Key Bridge buckling and crumbling into the Patapsco River left 6 contractors presumed dead and numerous questions in search of answers.
The investigation now is involving everybody, from federal authorities to state authorities, really trying to uncover both what happened, what led up to this, but then also everything about the aftermath, about the response. And so this is going to be a thorough investigation.
What we do know is the ship lost power a few minutes before impact, and it was a distressed mayday call that was able to alert the authorities in enough time to stop traffic from coming out onto the bridge, averting further tragedy. The federal response has been swift as both the FBI and NTSB are currently investigating this incident. There are 24 NTSB investigators on the scene, and they've already retrieved the data recorder from the ship, and the hope is to have a preliminary report on this accident within 2 to 4 weeks.
We do not hesitate at any time to issue an urgent safety recommendation if we believe there's some sort of safety deficiency that needs to be addressed.
The primary focus, however, has been on the victims and helping bring closure for their loved ones.
The work of these first responders, the work of these divers, I cannot stress enough how remarkable these individuals are.
Moore was asked about the possibility of criminal charges in this accident, and he said that the investigation is ongoing and the NTSB's full report could be out in 1 to 2 years. In Baltimore, I'm J. Scott Smith.